Hey, fourth grade, it's me, Miss Belt. Happy Friday. I hope you're going to have a wonderful weekend if I do not see you before the day is over. Today, we are going to continue working on rounding to the nearest 10 and to the nearest 100. Make sure you have a pencil that is sharpened and ready to go, and make sure you have this paper in front of you. So the paper says Friday, and it starts with round 258 to the nearest 10. Remember, we're going to do this top section of the paper together, and you are going to do the bottom section by yourself. So let's get started. So we are rounding 258 to the nearest 10, and the first thing we're going to do is decide where that tens place is at and underline it. So if I'm rounding to the nearest 10, that is going to be right here where that 5 is at. And I'm going to use that to help me with my number line. So I'm going to draw my number line, and I'm going to have my tick marks for the section of the number line we're looking at. And we said that we're rounding to the nearest 10, and right now there's a 5 in that tens place, so that means I have 5 groups of 10. So that means that I have 250 right here. And if I'm counting by tens, if this is 250, that means that this is going to be 260. I'm going to put my midway point right here, and I'm going to label my midway point, and halfway between 250 and 260 is 255. Then I'm actually going to plot where 258 is going to go. So I know that 258 is greater than 250. I also know it's greater than 255, and I know it's less than 260. So knowing that, I know it's going to go somewhere in this part of my number line. So for 258, it's going to go somewhere around here. So I'm going to plot it with a dot, and then I'm going to put my number on the number line. And then I'm going to decide, is 258 closer to 250, or is 258 closer to 260? Well, if I look at where it's plotted, I can tell that 258 is closer to 260. So I'm going to draw a line to 260, and then I'm going to circle 260 so that I remember. Then I'm going to look at my sentence stem, and it says 258 rounded to the nearest 10 is, and we just said the answer is 260, so I'm going to fill that in on my line. Make sure you have all of this on your paper before going to the next part of the problems we're doing together. All right, for the next one, it says round 258 to the nearest 100. So again, I'm going to decide where my hundreds place is at. And looking at my number, I see that the 2 is in the hundreds place. So if I have 2 hundreds, I have 100, 200. That means it's a value of 200. So I'm going to make my number line, and I'm going to put my starting and ending tick marks for this section of the number line. And we just said that this was worth 200. So I'm going to put 200 on this side. And if we're counting by hundreds, that means that this is 200. So that means this has to be 300. Then I'm going to put my midpoint, and my midpoint is right here, and if I label between 200 and 300, that middle point is going to be 250. Now I have to decide where 258 is going to go on my number line. Well, I know 258 is greater than 200. It's also greater than 250, but it's less than 300. So I know 258 is going to go somewhere on this side of the number line. And 258 is actually really, really close to 250, so I'm going to make sure it's shown that it's really, really close to 250. So I'm going to put my dot, and then I'm going to label 258. And then I have to decide, is 258 closer to 200, or is 258 closer to 300? Hopefully you're saying it with me that 258 is closer to 300. So I'm going to draw my line from 258 to 300, and then I'm going to circle 300. Then I'm going to use that to help me with my sentence stem. So it says 258 rounded to the nearest 100 is, and we just decided that the answer was 300, so I'm going to write 300 in my blank. Make sure you have all of this information written on your paper. Make sure that you do the other parts of your paper at the bottom, and then make sure you also do your Google form and you put all of your answers in. We cannot wait to see all the great work you're doing. Like I said before, have a great weekend if I don't see you by the end of the day, and we will see you later. Keep working hard.